Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Well, I'm playing my pinball machine and listening to some music, and then suddenly this happens. The plunger came out. Alright, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to remove these three bars. We have this one, and this one here on the left, and there's about 5 screws you have to remove, and then right here in the front there's 3 screws. And then we need to disconnect this control deck to get access to that plunger box. Okay, I just want to make it clear, before you do any type of work on your pinball machine, just always make sure you unplug it first. Safety comes first. And these rails, they come off really easy. It just comes right off. All right, so now what you do is you are going to lift this control deck up, and it's just going to lift right up, like so. But be very careful. Absolutely do not pull it up too quick because it is connected. See, there are wires connecting it. What you're going to disconnect is this right here. This is one of 2 you're going to disconnect. So this part you disconnect from the control deck, and you're going to disconnect the black and red one right here. All right, and then what you want to do is just, of course, put your control deck in a nice safe spot where you're not going to step on it or bump into it in any way. Here's a better look of the pinball machine inside. This right here is the plunger box. And there are 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4. What you have to do is take those screws out, and then you can lift this lid up and get into the plunger box. Now you might have to remove these wires here for the buttons, and you definitely have to remove this ribbon cable here. Now this is something that can happen quite often with these Legends AtGames Pinball machines, because what's basically going on is when you pull the plunger back and you let it go, the vibration can sometimes unscrew the magnet from the rod. And that's pretty much, I think, what happened in this case. So we need to get inside that box, get the spring, get the magnet, and basically screw that back into this rod so that we can continue playing pinball. Now, one warning is that you want to be a little bit careful with the screws on this plunger box lid because they are much smaller than the ones on the side rails here. And if you're not careful, you can, accidentally drop it in there. And it's like looking for a needle in a haystack because it's all black in here and dark. Let's go ahead and remove this lid. And you want to disconnect this ribbon cable right here. Also want to go ahead and remove this one too. You want to remove both these cables. And there is the plunger box right there. So let's go ahead and take the rod out. Put that somewhere safe. And here is the magnet and the spring. So this came off the rod right here. It's pretty nuts, man. So we got to get this all screwed back in again. All right, so after you remove the ribbon cable and all the wires, you get all that stuff out of the way, we're going to remove the hall sensor because the hall sensor is a bit in the way and you don't want to damage it because you're working in a pretty tight spot inside that plunger box. So remove all the wires, make sure everything is out of the way. Now once everything is removed, make sure you put that hall sensor in a nice safe area. You don't want to drop it or damage it. And then we're going to use some thread locker. Now this is pretty important. Make sure you use the blue tube. And what that's going to do is that's going to stop the screw from unscrewing from the vibration. Don't use the red one. The red one is a more permanent solution. It's like cement. The blue one is just fine. And we're going to put that screw right in this plastic piece. Now all you need to do is put a couple drops right on the thread of the screw. And this is probably the most difficult part of it because we're going to have to assemble the plunger back inside that very narrow area of the plunger box. We're going to have to pull the spring back. It's a bit of a pain in the ass, but you can definitely get it done. If I can do it, you can do it. Now you cannot get a normal screwdriver in there to hold the screw in place unless you have one of those like flexible screwdrivers. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to use a drill bit. It's like a Phillips drill bit. I'm going to put that in there and hold it down with my finger and then just keep tightening it as much as it can go. I've got some strength, so I'll be able to do it. Now this is the important part. Take the magnet, put it right on your pocket knife blade. And this right here is a complete fail. Whoa. But what you want to do is put that magnet on your blade just like that. And then you're just going to put it right over that plastic piece and it'll slip right in evenly. I actually thought that was going to be the hardest part of it, but it's not. Because there's these two prongs that stop the magnet, but it slips right in. Check everything, make sure it's all secure. And then we're going to put that hall sensor back in. And this is only 3 screws. And what you might have to do is pull the plunger back because that magnet might try to catch those little screws as you're trying to screw it in. So you want to pull that plunger back. And I know it seems impossible. You kind of need a third hand. Maybe you can grab somebody to help you out to pull that plunger back while you screw that in. And then after you're complete with that, then we're just going to put everything back together again. Put the lid back on the plunger box. And we're going to connect the ribbon cables and connect the switches again. All right, so we are now complete with the work on the plunger. And hopefully we got this back in working order again. You know, one of the reasons I bought a digital pinball was so that I didn't have to do any type of mechanical maintenance on it. Boy, was I wrong. But it's been a really cool adventure. Well, let's go ahead and test out one of these games. Let's check out Class of 1812.
And I'm your host, remind my friends for the most.
All right. Everything is working again as usual. So that is awesome. All right, well, if you have any questions, go ahead and let me know down below. I want to thank you all so much for watching the video if you did make it to the end. And I will see you on the next one.